New cards, PogChamp, new cards, PogChamp. First and foremost, we're talking about the most important thing. I'm talking about the Speed Duel Forbidden List update. Okay, so if you didn't know this, Speed Duel has basically existed in a state of being ruined since inception. There's been like 3 total good formats. Routinely, they will just accidentally release a skill that is so far above the power level of everything else that it warps everything around it. And it's happened like 5 times. Like, it was like at release, the Blue Eyes skill, followed by the Serpent Knight Dragon skill, followed by Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, followed by Inner Conflict, followed by this. I mean, I guess you could argue Twisted Personality or I'm just going to attack, but followed by this. So there is a skill card called My Precious Queen. At the start of the duel, flip this card over. You can normal summon level 7 insect monsters for 1 less tribute, and then once per turn during the end phase, not your end phase, you can special summon an insect monster token. This token can't be tributed except for the tribute summon of an insect monster or their effects. It turns out you're not allowed to print this effect. This was not only incredibly powerful, it was so incredibly powerful, it was the only thing worth playing. And so, as a result, instead of doing what they did with Cocoon of Ultra Evolution and issuing an errata for the card, they said, fuck it. And we finally have our first forbidden Speed Duel card. Our very first forbidden Speed Duel card. It's, well, you know, we had a good run. I hope people are still playing Speed Duel. I think it's important to maintain a competitive ecosystem that includes multiple formats, but it really sucks that Speed Duel has been this like incredibly lovingly nurtured product up until the person who was running it left, at which point I think the releases have been super cynical and the format has just been unplayable. Not to say that it wasn't unplayable before, because there were a significant amount of bad formats before, but I have very fond memories of like 3 specific Speed Duel formats. There was a period of time, like in 2019, where the amount of theory that was going on for Speed Duel specifically was like arguably more than what was happening in Advanced. Like, going to an event and finding like Honko Chow and Mike Steineman like fucking innovating on the format, I was like, this sucks. What the fuck? Explain limits of the skills in the TCG. Oh yeah, this is a Duel Links duel list or a ban list. It works like, yeah, like it says, you only get 1 limited card. All right, next up. Beguile your foes with Mirage Mirror Force. Oh, man. Okay, so we have a new Mirror Force, and just off the bat, a couple of things going on here. This mirror has an eye on it, which is new, and the Force is a little more phallic than it usually is. You know, that is rounded at the tip. I don't know what to say. All right. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, special an illusion from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, return the attacking monster to the hand. And if a face-up illusion monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon an illusion monster from your hand or graveyard. It's bad. It's not good. It's unfortunately not remotely good. But you know, it's a fun name for a card, and I think that we finally have the total ball, I believe, of Mirror Forces. The Mirror Forces now construct one large ball. We have 8 of 9. Oh shit, what are we missing? We don't have facing right. Oh. We're missing the back of the sphere. Oh, yeah, right. Good. All right, next up. Diabelle's clashes for the Sinful Spoils. Okay, someone told me that this was also a reference to The Wizard of Oz, that these 2 witches are supposed to be Diabelle is supposed to be the Wicked Witch of the West, and Diabelle's is supposed to be like the Good Witch of the North or whatever, which is, one, insane, and two, the second Wizard of Oz reference in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can I get the Nord link, exclamation mark Nord in the chat, folks? I think that this is a bit of a stretch. I think it is closer to refer to these not as the Wizard of Oz archetype, but as the Wicked archetype. But I will say, thinking that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is making references to like a 2003 musical that has never received a film adaptation, I think is probably a stretch. But also not so outside the realm of possibility that I can say that it's not the case. So let's see what's going on here. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. One, if there's a Sinful Spoils card in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And here it is! I'm already yawning! You cannot activate spell... Your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards that were not set. So, if a spell trap is set to the field while this monster is on the field, you can target a card you control and a card your opponent controls, destroy them. Here's the thing. Many people have been comparing this to anti-spell, and I do want to mention this is not anti-spell. It just means you have to set a card before you activate it, but you're still free to activate all your spell cards. It does mean quick play spell cards are dog shit against decks that are playing this card. Really rough news for shit like Forbidden Droplet. And it also means, that's right, we forgot about Pendulum! Woo! Oops! Forgot about Pendulum. Now any deck that's playing, of course, the Sinful Spoil stuff can just board this singleton and automatically win the game against Pendulum. That's what I like to fucking hear. At least there's an easy way to out this in Pendulum, and that's you board into 3 copies of Imperm, which you then can't use. Let's go! It's good. I really enjoy that they keep printing cards like this. It's beautiful. Okay, we have a trap. Sinful Spoils Cycle. 1, take a level 5 or higher illusion monster. Wait, the illusions are Sinful Spoils now? Add it to your hand or special summon it. If summoned this way, it cannot activate its effects during the main phase this turn. What's going on in this art? She's hitting him with the... What is she, standing on him? Huh. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a face-down card you control, return it to the hand, and set a spell trap from your hand. I don't understand what this is for. I don't, get the point of this card in the larger archetype. And then Sinful Spoils of Dozing, Morrigan. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn, target a face-up special summon monster, change it to face-down defense position, and if you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster, and this card is in your graveyard, you can set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So none of these cards are, good. This is the one thing that's making me not freak out about the fact that they're just printing another anti-spell in some ways, is that it's not fantastic. Joseph, the trap is how you summon her. Okay, see, I understand that, but can't you just summon her by her own effect? If you're telling me the play is I'm going to use Diabellstar to get Sinful Spoils Cycle, then I'm going to activate Sinful Spoils Cycle to summon Diabelles of the Original Sin, then that sucks. That's, awful, right? You're describing a really bad play. Unless you're playing against Pendulum, in which case you win the game on the spot. I don't get what this face-down card thing is for. I imagine we'll get some insight into that a little bit later. And Sinful Spoils of Dozing is it's interruption. So in a scenario where you already have Cycle or you already have access to Diabelles, you can get it off of Diabellstar instead. But who cares? If this type of effect was really good, if setting this type of effect was really good, was game-winning, people would be playing fucking amazements. But they're not. Phantom Thief 94, I think, is onto something, which is The most interesting part of this card is that it's an illusion. And the existing illusion deck, the like Chimera Loop illusion deck, is kind of want for a single good illusion card. Like, over the course of the turn, the deck is really good at doing the combo and then getting an illusion search that is currently filled by nothing. People are playing like Tau the Enchanter in this slot, but this is why early on you saw a lot of these branded Chimera builds playing a one of the DM retrain. I mean, she is an illusion, so maybe? I don't know. Next up. Math. It's time to do more math with Equation System Cannon from Lee. Banish 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank and 1 fusion monster from your extra deck whose combined levels and ranks equal the total number of cards on the field and in both players' hands. Then return 1 each of your banished fusion and Xyz monsters to the extra deck whose combined level and rank equal the level or rank of 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Then banish all cards your opponent controls. Okay, so the payoff to Linear Equation Cannon was you won combat, which is not very good, right? Like, obviously it sucks. But the payoff to this one is banish all cards your opponent controls, which is very slightly better. So, on first read, this card seems fucking awful, right? Obviously. It seems like you have to fulfill too many specific conditions. But with just a little bit of thinking about math, it actually, I don't think, is that hard to proc. Obviously, a significant amount of the decks that are going to be able to proc it are the decks that have a lot of extra deck space, things like Labyrinth, that don't necessarily use the extra deck. I guess Flu theoretically could play it, but I don't think, you really need it in Flu. You're already winning the game if you resolve a normal trap anyway. But also there's like some decks that are just incidentally playing a lot of fusions and Xyz that might be able to do it. Like, if Runic Generator decides this is enough to go in on, there's a non-0% chance that you could kajigger the extra in such a way that you could actually resolve this fucking thing. HVCG3000 also has a good idea. You could just lie. I mean, what is the opponent going to do? The math? So let's just paint a hypothetical here. My opponent, let's say, has 3 cards on field, 4 cards in hand. I have already set up my board, so I have, let's say, 8 cards total in all my locations. So 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 4 is 15. So 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank and 1 fusion monster from your extra with the combined number. So the Xyzes seem like 4 is like a safe Xyz place to be. So that's 8, and then I need to make it to, what did I say, 15? So a 7-star fusion. I mean, you would just keep a fusion monster of every stat line, right? You would have like 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s for Xyz, and then like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for fusions. So you do that. Then your opponent has to control a monster whose total level is equal to the 1 fusion and the 1 Xyz. So here, unfortunately, that would have to be an 11, and that would fucking suck. That would not work. Alternatively, you could do, if it was 15 total, you could do like 5, 5, and then 5, and then if they have a 10-star monster, it'll trigger, like a Nibiru or something. Or if you go 6, 6, 3, then they have to have, what? A 9-star? What if you go 7, 7, 1, and then you get them on an 8-star? That one seems more likely, but every 8-star has a negate attached. I could see it happening. Torrential Tribute is legal. You know that, right? This card is so much better than Torrential, though. It gets everything. Okay, it's not a good card, but I really hope some people tinker with it. Oh, God, I hope that is really not true. Does the calculation happen on activation or on res? On res. Oh, this card is just fucking unplayable then. They just do anything that changes the math and they absolutely win. Right? There's no cost attached to this card, chat, so you cannot transaction rollback it. You have to have the legal things to banish at activation and at resolution. Yeah, okay, this is... Wow. Oh, boy. That's not good. Next up. Appear from another world with Golgoil, the Iron Giant Djinn.
That was wrong.
Okay, so this is a remake of Golgoil, which is like from a video game, and then they printed it in Speed Duel. Like this I don't know why we're scraping the bottom of the barrel on retrains here. But it's an illusion. So, you know, if this card battles a monster, neither monster can be destroyed by that battle. If your machine or illusion monster battles after damage calculation, target a monster that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it. Cool. If this card is banished from the field, you can special summon it. So this is like something. The problem is it is a level 10 Earth Illusion Effect monster. So, you know, good luck. Next up, Talons of Shurilane. Another one of these. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, target a machine or a fiend or illusion you control. Return it to the hand. Special summon this card from your hand. It's got the illusion battle condition. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets your cards, you can target a monster your opponent controls. Return this card from the field to the hand, and if you do, destroy that monster. So this is interesting. It's almost an illusion that is worth playing as the additional illusion you can get off of the Chimera line. The thing that is fucking it up is that, one, its Sharvara effect currently doesn't protect anything important. There's not like an illusion guy you want to be able to escape to the hand. And two, this additional layer of protection isn't protection. It's interaction, but it's completely telegraphed, which means your opponent is never going to run into it in any sort of meaningful way, and competes with the chain resolution with Coddle, right? If your opponent targets something you control, you can either Coddle or this, right? Why would they do that? Fuck you. Oh, man. Someday we're going to get a second good illusion, but, you know, I'm not holding my breath. Okay. Finally. Bow to true royalty with new Yubel support. Anything that Yubel ever played is now getting a retrain. So here's what we got. Hellgrave Squirmer. Infernal Grave Squirmer. If you control a fiend monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can destroy a monster you control, or that is Yubel, or shouts it out. 2, you can banish this card from your graveyard, especially fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your hand or graveyard, except for Hellgrave Squirmer. Do it squirm. Do you be moanin'? So this card is good. They're just realizing they're going to have to give this archetype like several layers of customs for it to even be remotely playable. And I mean, this is a custom, you know. It cheats out Yubel. If you have Yubel on field, it pops it automatically. But it does it in the wrong order. So like it isn't a 1 card on its own. It needs additional pieces of stuff to get going. So And then Nightmare Throne. When this card resolves, take a fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your deck and either add it to your hand or destroy it. This is cool. Gets either Yubel or Hellgrave Squirmer or one of these other fucking cards. Once per turn, if a face-up Yubel monster you control leaves the field by card effect, add a Yubel monster that is banished or in your deck or graveyard and is one original level higher or lower than one of the monsters, and special summon the added monster ignoring its summoning conditions. That's insanely strong. What? That's like really good. What? Holy shit. It's a great way to add Dark Beckoning Beast for full sprite combo. Yeah, well, we were already playing 3 of the 7 Spirit Gates, so if you need the 7th, 8th, and 9th copy of Dark Beckoning Beast, no, because you can also just draw Dark Beckoning Beast, right? Yeah, no, this is 7th, 8th, and 9th copy of Dark Beckoning Beast. But I don't know. I am reserving judgment on the Yubel cards. I think that they are going to do what they have to do to make those cards playable. Which is kind of unfortunate because if the Yubel cards are ever playable, it's going to be so frustrating to play against. Anyone who has ever played Duel Links can tell you those cards are not fun to play against. But this is about the level Legacy support would have to be at to catapult that dog shit pile into playable. All right, good stuff today.